The yellow golden blade, the symbol of the light of the Jedi in the High Republic era. It would not be a stretch at all to say that in current canon continuity, as well as the importance of Star Wars lore moving forward, that the yellow lightsaber is by far one of the most important inclusions, and has now been proven to be the future of the Jedi, while also being a stark symbol of the past. Greetings, acolytes of the Force, back to our archives. We've been expecting you. The yellow golden lightsaber blades have been getting a ton of highlight in Star Wars canon as of late, with it being confirmed that one of the main Jedi Masters in the Acolyte, a series set at the end of the High Republic era, would indeed be wielding a yellow blade. As well as, of course, Rey wielding a yellow lightsaber at the conclusion of The Rise of Skywalker. But what exactly is the importance and the significance of the yellow blade? And why as of late have there been massive lore inclusions that have changed the way many perceive the golden blade? Before we continue, there will be spoilers in this video for Jedi Survivor. So, if you have not played the game, I implore you to do so, or at least watch the cutscenes before continuing on. In Jedi Survivor, we do learn a little bit about the yellow blades, and their relationship to the orange lightsabers, which have been highlighted in Survivor, as well as the Ahsoka series. But before we get into that relationship, let's discuss the origins of the yellow lightsaber. The yellow lightsaber is unique as it is a lightsaber color and a variation that is extinct during the era of the Clone Wars, or more formally known as the Republic Classic era. This essentially means that Jedi and Force wielders of this era, when they imprint upon a lightsaber crystal, are unable to attain the color of yellow, with most Jedi being delegated to the colors of green or blue, and in some very rare instances, purple. However, all the way through the Republic Classic era, the first Jedi to imprint upon a crystal that we know of and achieve a yellow color is Rey. This is not to say though that the lightsaber color didn't hold extreme importance during the Clone Wars era. The yellow lightsabers that were constructed during the High Republic era, some few hundred years before the Clone Wars broke out, were passed down through generations of Jedi. Eventually, the yellow blades would be gifted to the Jedi Temple Guards or the Jedi Temple Sentinels, with the Temple Guards also adopting the High Republic robes with gold and white accents, symbolizing an era of purity of the Jedi. As many of you are well aware, the recent Star Wars canon novels has gone a long way to explain the origins and history of the High Republic Jedi, as well as why they were supposedly the greatest era of Jedi to have ever lived. In a recent interview, High Republic author Charles Soule said this about the differences between the prequel era Jedi and the High Republic Jedi. The Jedi are all over the galaxy, helping people in all sorts of different places, and the way the Jedi at these outposts in the Outer Rim are helping these people might look at the rules of the Jedi Order a little bit different, and much different than the way they're interpreted in the prequels or on Coruscant. Not in any way where they seem to blow it all up or do whatever the hell they want, but certainly the idea of a connection. The Jedi understands its importance and understand how it matters to the universe and matters to the relationships of the vast majority of people. This is going to a place I did not expect this interview to go, but like love, in some ways, it's also about letting go. It's about letting people be who they are and supporting them through that journey, which is the opposite of attachment. And so, I think it's very easy for a Jedi to love. It's just that you have to love without being controlling, and love without being afraid of losing someone, which is something Jedi are good at, and Sith are ultimately bad at. Something else that's important to note is it has been stated by canon authors that the Jedi of the High Republic era are actually far more powerful than the prequel era Jedi. But how exactly does this all relate back to the yellow lightsabers? Well, the Jedi of this era represented purity in the Order and purity within oneself. They represented pursuing individualism, as well as serving the innocence of the galaxy above a wider order. In fact, the Jedi of this era were not officially a part of the New Republic either. The Jedi of the High Republic era were also known to experiment with the Force and push its very boundaries, something that the prequel and Clone Wars Jedi were quite afraid of, so much so that they actively discouraged it. The Jedi of the High Republic era were also far less arrogant than the prequel Jedi, and believed their given role in the galaxy to protect and serve, not rule outright. With all of that said though, what exactly does this have to do with the yellow blades? Well, if we examine the stance of the Force of the High Republic as it differs from the prequel era Jedi, we can determine exactly why the High Republic Force wielders were able to achieve a color in a kyber crystal that modern Jedi cannot. There is clearly a component missing with the prequel era Jedi that stops them from having these yellow blades, and I believe it is where they stand concerning the common folk of the galaxy, as well as their roles in the larger order. Something intriguing I found in Jedi Survivor is not only does the main antagonist in Dagan have a yellow blade as a former High Republic Jedi, but the Order 66 survivor and your former friend Bode wields an orange lightsaber, another color that was not wielded by any Jedi during the prequel era. We theorized in a previous video that the reason that Dagan's lightsaber crystal had an orange-red hue to it was because his crystal was originally yellow, and that the brand new orange coloration represented a sort of righteous fury, as Dagan Gera's reasons for turning to the dark side were not solely due to his own ambition, but rather wanting to better the galaxy as a whole around him. Similar to this, Bode, who also wields an orange lightsaber, has a similar stance in the Force. Bode has also turned to the dark side following the events of Order 66. However, it is revealed that the only reason that Bode turned to the dark side was again due to righteous fury, corrupting his lightsaber crystal into this orange coloration in hopes of protecting his daughter at all costs from the Empire. Both Dagan Gera and Bode are not evil outright, and yet they wield the dark side of the Force for greater intentions. Concerning Bode and his relationship to the yellow crystals, however, he mentions that he was able to escape Order 66 because he was a secret operative of the Jedi High Council, whose job it was to collect intel and blend in, and this is why he was able to escape from the Empire, at least initially. This is significant as in Legends continuity, this class was known as a Jedi Sentinel. The Jedi Sentinels were the spies and the hunters down of the dark side of the Force in Legends, who too were far more integrated with the common folk of the galaxy, rather than integrated in the wider Jedi Order and the Temple on Coruscant, meaning that Bode himself does have a relationship somewhat to the yellow crystals. But now, let's bring this all full circle. What about Rey and her new Jedi Order? Rey's yellow crystal represents that the old way of the Jedi is being brought back, the way of the High Republic era. Rey will now be a true Jedi Knight and a servant of the galaxy, just as is the pure meaning of the yellow blade, not tied down by some republic or a dogmatic order, but rather paving a way for her own, the past echoing into the future, and the methodology and practice of the High Republic era return to the galaxy. But anyway, my friends and acolytes, what are your thoughts on this, and what are your thoughts on the very extreme importance of the yellow crystal? What are your thoughts on it being highlighted extremely frequently in new Star Wars canon? And who do you think would be the perfect Jedi to wield a golden blade? As always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and I hope to see you back in the archives soon.